Are you ready for this
For
week's
what?
wrestling draft?
Oh man, I forgot about the draft. I didn't prep.
Hell yes.
I can still beat you, Dominic.
You
Let's
think
go.
so? You
Let's
just think
go.
so? All right. Do you remember who you got for?
Yes. So my first overall pick was Hollywood Hogan, and um, then I got somebody else. Who'd I get after Hogan?
Who'd you get right after Hogan? I know you picked up Shawn Michaels at some point, but
Yeah,
The Rock. You got The Rock.
I got The Rock. There's my wife making an
Hey,
appearance.
hey,
Hey.
hey.
So then I got The Rock, and then I got Goldberg. That was my first round. Who was your first round?
My first round was Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Mm-hmm.
Bret Hart, and The Undertaker. And let's make note that our team captains are mine's Scott Hall, my favorite wrestler, and your favorite wrestler, Kevin Nash, who happen to be tag team, but they're on different teams.
Yeah, but we decided to go that route because they're very much on even playing ground as far as like popularity is concerned.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then my second round, Dominic, I just whooped your fucking
Oh,
ass.
you,
I
well, go
fucked you
ahead.
up in the
Say who you
second
want.
round.
Say who you want.
I
Say who
got
you
the
got.
Nature Boy. He was
Woo!
my first pick. Can't believe he fell to the second round. Then I got HBK, Shawn Michaels, after you whiffed on one.
Speculatively, I'm
Dude,
gonna.
you completely whiffed. And then I got the Macho Man Randy Savage. Before you say yours, Dominic, I want to point out how badly you whiffed because afterwards you were trying to convince me that trades were okay in this two-man draft.
Why couldn't they be? I'm fine with that. Hey, I openly admitted right on the podcast that Flair was gonna be my pick, so I was gonna try to make a trade for Flair,
Yeah,
and I was gonna try Macho Man too. I was kind of interested in,
well, you whiffed,
or
Dominic.
HBK.
You whiffed bad on that
They were
round.
good picks. I'm
Who
not
are
gonna
your
say
picks?
my picks. I picked Mankind, Mick
Ouch!
Foley. Not
Ouch!
ouch, not
Over
ouch.
over Shawn Michaels.
You look over the course of the '90s, Mankind was the cool wrestling fans pick. One of the cool wrestling fans, like people
Dominic,
respected him.
he is nowhere
Same
on the
with
same
Austin.
level as Shawn Michaels.
Same with Austin. Same with Bret Hart. And
He is not on the level of Shawn Michaels. Who'd you get next?
then I got Sting, who
All right.
revamped himself as the Crow. Very
Sting is good.
popular.
Sting
Very
is good.
popular. And then I closed it out with Roddy Piper, whose star power in the 80s also transitioned into the 90s as well.
Rodney the Piper.
Oh, Roddy's great. We all
Uh,
that
they just listen. Yeah, it's Dominic. You didn't come close to the round that I had. That one, dude. In one round, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, and the Macho Man. Are you kidding me?
Well, to go against you, I'm gonna say that Ric Flair, that was his. And I'm not saying Ric Flair wasn't a great choice because that was gonna be my choice too. I like that Heather's wiping down your fucking WCW NWO revenge picture.
She's
I'm dusting.
she's earning her allowance, Dominic.
she's cleaning the most prominent aspects of the house right
Somebody
now.
have to do it.
You can tell she really appreciates me here, Dom.
She admires. She knows what's fancy in that room.
She knows how little to expect.
Right.
But anyways, what justification were you trying to make?
So I'm saying Flair in the 90s, that's when Flair got a little more cartoony and less of the nature boy from Crockett Promotions and classic WCW days.
And he was going to be your first selection, though. But I got him first.
True. But I'm just saying from a different perspective. And the Macho Man, too. Macho Man going into the mid-90s and everything like that. He was getting to be that act that we've seen well of already. So.
Dominic, you're referring to the mid-90s. I'm talking about the 90s over the entire scope.
I know.
1990, Dominic, to like 1992, the Macho Man was arguably one of the biggest wrestlers in the world.
Sure. I know. I get it. But I'm just saying from another perspective here. All right.
Don't try to trash my choices, Dom. You had a fucking shit round. You tried to weasel out of it by trying to convince me to do a trade.
Weasel, there's no such thing. There's trades and drafts, Marcus, and that happens.
Dominic, not in a goddamn two-man draft.
Bullshit.
A two-man draft and we're doing trades?
Why can't we?
That is ridiculous.
Why can't we? Well, I get the first pick this time.
You do. Let's hope you don't fucking blow it. Who do you got, Dom?
I got another world champion of the era. Someone who proved himself throughout the latter part of the decade as a main eventer and a people's champion, if you will. That's right. I'm going with Diamond Dallas Page.
I'd say he's a solid choice. Choice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're not showing off.
One of the best theme songs of the 90s. I will say that. Smells like Teen Spirit. Teen Spirit. There you go. I'm good.
Right.
I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Well, Dominic, my first choice is going to be one. He's a guy who never won a title.
Shit.
Shit. This guy never won a title, but like if you were a wrestling fan in the late 80s to early 90s, you were pretty much a Hulk Hogan fan. But then right after Hulk Hogan, if there was one other guy who you were like, who all the people were buying the T-shirts and the toys of, who was a household name in the 90s alongside Hulk Hogan, it was this guy, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Thank God.
Is my selection.
Thank God. I thought you were going somewhere else.
But yeah, dude, Jake the Snake, the inventor of the DDT. And actually, I wasn't gonna choose this one, and then Bill, he laid it on me. He said through a text like, when are you gonna pick Jake the Snake? And I was like, holy shit, I forgot about him. Jake the Snake Roberts is my selection.
Okay. Well, you didn't. I thought you were gonna go with my pick. Who I was gonna pick.
Good.
Also, well respected amongst his colleagues as the greatest wrestlers, greatest personalities of the 90s that did not get his just due in the WWF, arguably, and especially in WCW.
I know who you're getting.
I'm going with Mr. Perfect.
Oh.
Hennig.
All right. I thought you were going another route.
Kurt Hennig. Amazing, man. Amazing fucking drop kick. Just, he lived up to his name.
Yeah, he was the man. No question. No question.
Mr. Perfect. And he was like one of the known for like, he really built up the Intercontinental title and was, only won it I think twice, but was still one of the like noticed as one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time. So, son of Larry the Axe. So there you go. My pick.
Right.
Keeping it up.
Well, Dominic, my next choice is going to be a guy. Well, let me start off with a little story, Dominic.
You start. Okay, I will tent my hands and listen.
Vince McMahon, I don't know if you know this, but Vince McMahon originally wanted to be a pro wrestler, but his father would not let him do it. He wanted him to get into the business end of things. But Vince always had this vision of himself, the wrestler that he wanted to be, the character that he wanted. And in his head, he was this millionaire who would go out and shove his money in people's faces, buy people's loyalties, and just in general act like a deplorable person. And Vince McMahon kept this character in his mind, and with it, he built probably, and you and I have talked about this before, he might be the greatest heel in the history of professional wrestling. I'm clearly talking about the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, another household name in the 90s.
I say that's a pretty good pick, but I will also say that DiBiase's wrestling career was over in '93. So.
Right, but he was still a huge figure in pro wrestling as he went on to become a manager for the $1 Million Corporation.
Well, that was also not a notorious, well-known faction either in the grand scope of pro professional wrestling. So.
1990, Dom, 91, 92, 93. He had 4 years of being the top heel in the business in the 90s. The $1 Million Man.
I'm not arguing. I love the $1 Million Man. I love Ted DiBiase.
He was my favorite wrestler initially when I was a little kid.
I don't know why you changed it.
Because then Jake the Snake came along.
It's really hard.
That's right. So
all right. Well, I will go with my last pick for this week. I will say, I do not like this wrestler whatsoever.
Oh, I think you're stealing the one I was going with.
I do not like him. He's probably one of my. He ranks at the bottom of my wrestlers of all time. I just don't like him. I do not like him. I've expressed this many times to Marcus. Marcus likes him. You've had some weird email correspondence with him.
I did. It was pretty bizarre emails.
Very bizarre. He's no longer with us. He is the Ultimate Warrior. Drafting.
Dude, it's a rock solid choice because people, and as soon as the 90s started, Vince McMahon started looking for, okay, he's going to be the next guy now that Hulk Hogan's out. And he had his eyes set on the Ultimate Warrior, and the Ultimate Warrior was a big deal. He just kind of like self-destructed about halfway through the 90s. Not even halfway through the 90s.
Horrible technical wrestler, did not do shit, was known for injuring people in the ring.
And he did not have a he didn't like the business.
Yeah, careless. He didn't care about his opponents. Andre the Giant notoriously like beat the shit out of him when like he would not listen to him.
Hated him.
Hated him, and so did the entire locker room. Ted DiBiase hated him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily a very good person. Also, he's very homophobic.
And very like just
that's got to take down a couple pegs, Dom. The homophobia.
Yeah. Well, so I
about him as a wrestler though, and he was incredibly over.
Through gritted teeth, I'd select the Ultimate Warrior.
Well, that was going to be my next selection, Dominic, but I am a little bit relieved that it sort of opens the door now for me to go with this next guy.
Oh boy,
I'm pretty shocked that you went with the Ultimate Warrior. And I was thinking that I might be able to get the Warriors my final selection now, and then this guy is my first selection next time. But fuck it, man. I'm getting him now, and I'm psyched about it. Dominic, in the 90s, Dominic, let me take you back.
Okay. I'm not aware of the 90s. Fill me in.
Specifically probably about 92, 93, and 94. There was a guy who was the top heel in the business. And I'm not just talking about in America. He was also the top heel in Japan, in Europe.
A good pick.
Absolutely everywhere he went.
I wanted him.
He was the wrestler of the year in 1993. He had epic matches with Sting and Ric Flair. And then he came to WWF, and they kind of ruined his character after he had like falling out with Shawn Michaels. But there's no denying it. Passed away recently. Vader, Dominic, was my choice.
Great pick. You know what? And I will credit you because I was gonna think that he was gonna fly under your radar because of that. Because he wasn't in WWF. Because he wasn't like when you were a WCW fan, he wasn't even in WCW. So right. I was going to be like, he's not going to pick Vader. That's going to be a sleeper pick for me. You proved me wrong, Marcus.
Well, I was impressed that you went with the Warrior in spite of how much you hate him. So I was like,
gritted teeth.
I was like, it's a lock that I'm going to get the Warrior and Vader, and I was psyched. So, hey, but I'm happy with how this round went, man. I got Jake the Snake, I got the $1 Million Man, and I got Vader. Pretty good round.
You really focused on the early 90s this round. So,
90s and heels.
90s? Oh, it's true. 90s and heels. I had a good balance of things. I'm very happy. You know what? I wanted DDP. I wanted Mr. Perfect. I got both of them. And then I got the Degenerate Warrior. So, I'm fine with that.
Hey, not too bad.
Not too shabby.
I'll tell you what. We both had a good round this time. You had a bounce back week here, Dom. But I think you're still fucked in the grand scheme.
I don't think so. I think I got a fighter's chance. Your cats were kissing and now they're fighting.
Yeah, you can see them scuffling back there behind me.
Silhouettes. Silhouettes at the window. So,